So we are going to start with the white pieces of paper. That's the first thing I want you guys to have in front of you. We're going to play with that fun sheet afterwards. And at first, I'm going to find my glasses. And we're going to talk about what makes something look transparent. And we'll do a couple of exercises. And once you understand that transparency in black and white, we will transpose that into the color realm. And that's when it's really fun. So just bear with me until I find these, just for 1 second. And then we'll be doing that soon. Okay, I don't think I have them here, so I'll use these. Okay, good. We have an hour to do this. Let's make the best of it. Have you ever done a circle free-handedly? Have you ever drawn a circle completely without anything else? Then no rulers or no compasses. We're going to start with that because I think it's quite empowering. I like that word too. So we're going to start with that. When you draw a circle, and I gave you a little ruler, right? Oh no, we didn't give you the rulers. Do you still have them in the box by any chance? The box of rulers? There's a little brown box or something. Because what we're going to do is to draw a circle by hand. It's not that easy. But if you make a little square, it fits, a circle will fit in a square. So you always have to think about, if you're doing a geometric shape, what other easier geometric shape would it fit in? So there they are. So Madeleine is going to give them to you. And so, like, for example, if you do a circle, yes, it's a square. So now if we wanted to do an oval, what do you think it would be? A rectangle, right? It would fit in a rectangular box. And let's face it, drawing a square or rectangle, it's much easier than doing a circle by hand without any help. So that's the principle we're going to start with. And as soon as you all get your rulers, me included, we're going to go to the middle of the page. I'm going to talk to you about this at 10.8. So if you already have a ruler, thank you. Go grab your ruler and you're going to move to 10.8 from the left using your little yellow pencil. And I'm going to make sure I stay on camera. I have my monitor here. And so take the side that's not the inches. Take the side that's metric and not... what is it called? I think it's colonial or something like that, isn't it?
Imperial.
Imperial, that's even better. So, yes. So that's why usually it's in metric or non-metric, have you noticed? But anyway, so I'm going to back up a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm literally taking it from the edge and going to 10, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to make a little mark right there. There, okay? And then at the bottom, we're going to do the same thing at 10.8. I almost see better without glasses these days. I don't know what's going on. 10.8, right there. And I want you guys to draw a line between the two. You're getting your rulers now. They're multicolor and fun, like we are. Here, we're going to do that. Oops, back up. And so once you have those 2 points, you can draw a line. Okay, and we'll start with that. And then, hi Michelle. Hi. And then from there, we're going to go and take, let's say from the top, let's just go to 7 centimeters. So 10.8 was going to be your middle. From the left at the top, from the left at the bottom. And then here we're going to 7. If you want to be exactly in the middle, you're going to go 7 from the left and 7 from the right. And you put, whoops, and then you put a little dot right there. Same on the other side. 7. And then we're going to draw a line right through. And that's our center of that square. Okay? Pretty much. So as soon as you have this, we're going to do let's say a 22 millimeter circle. It's a good size because we can see it, but it's not too big, so it's not, too difficult to do. So from that cross in the middle, once You have that. Give you guys a second. We need to share the rulers. Okay, so we won't go too fast. Yeah. Sorry. I thought I bought enough rulers. There's, and there was how many did we have? We like, yeah. Oh well. So 7, yeah, that would be a good place to put but honestly it could be anywhere. It's just to get you to do like an XY, pretty much in the middle. So once you are able, I want to do 11 millimeters in one direction. Oops, so I'm going to take 11 millimeters because it's going to be in every direction 11, right? So here it is. Make a little mark. And then you can do it by hand. You draw a little rooftop like that for the square. At 11 millimeters from the middle. So there's 11 millimeters coming up here. Yes? And then you're going to try to guesstimate where the other 11 is underneath. So it's always kind of a fun game. You kind of go like this and you put a little dot and then you check to see how far off you are, right? So check it out. I'm totally off, so I'm going to come back up a little bit. All right, here it is. And then that gives you your bottom part of the square. You'll notice I don't even use the ruler for this. If you don't like something you don't go very hard, like really dark.
So, excuse me, the line across is at 7 millimeters.
It goes 7 millimeters, yes,
Yeah,
across.
and then you said
7 centimeters.
Millimeters on top of that?
Sorry, it was 7 centimeters
Right.
from the top.
Sorry, 7 centimeters.
Right, and then 11 millimeters.
Oh,
going
11 millimeters on top of that. Okay.
Yeah, going up from there.
Got it.
That would be the center of your square. And so you go 11, 11 everywhere. So then what you're going to do with the horizontal plane, same thing, you give yourself one of the 11s. And we're going to close that. And the other side, we're going to try to imagine where it is. So let's say it's here. And I'm going to check. And it is here. So the more you do it, the better you get at this little game. I do that to help the mind start getting used to measuring things. So then from there, once everybody has their square, I'm going to wait a minute. Let me know when. Okay, and there, once everybody is happy with their square, I want you guys to just clean up all around it. Clean up all around the squares, all these lines. So hopefully you didn't press too hard, so it's not so hard to erase. And even the cross here, we're going to eliminate it. We're only going to be left with that square. And pretty light. It's just for me to see where it is. Like, where is that circle living? It's right inside of the square. So what I want you to do after that, once you've done your cleanup, we are going to mark the little arc, like the beginning of the turn here. On this side, here, and here. Let's see if this will work. This is nice. Okay, and then once you have these turns, see, they're just like, you know that you're going to bump into that wall. So you're almost cupping it like this. You're not doing a lot of arc, because you don't know how much you need, but you just do. They're like little hands holding the circle in place, you see, in the 4 corners. So I'll come in close. Yes?
Dim the lights a little bit so we can see this.
Oh, you don't see very well. Yeah, can we turn off those backlights, by the way?
Let me try.
That would be really great.
It's only the whole room.
Well, we can turn off the whole room.
Yeah.
Oh, no, because then they won't see what they're doing. Minor detail.
Well, let's see what we can come up with.
Maybe you'll see enough. I should have given you little task lights. That's what I do at home. I mean, you know, in my online classes, everybody always has a little light coming. Hey, you can still see, right? This is much nicer. Ooh. Hey, it's very moody, but as long as you can, well, it's hard for them not to see what they're drawing either, so a little bit more. Is that okay now? And you can see both? Okay, awesome. That's much better then. So you see what I'm doing is like I'm taking the square. I know that this is my limitation, so I'm putting those like baby arcs, right, on the sides. And then it's much easier to just deal with one corner at a time. So what you're going to do is turn the page always for ergonomic reasons, right? If you're right-handed, you're going to turn it a little bit to the right. And basically what you will do is very lightly, see I'm flying above, you're going to start doing the beginning of that circle, right? The one corner. And then you continue turning, basically. So don't be afraid to turn the page completely upside down as long as the hand is comfortable. And you're going to do one corner at a time. And you'll see the relationship you have with that corner, with that negative space, what's going to happen to it. If you get too close to it, it'll look sort of squarish. And if you go too fast, it's going to look like a diamond shape, like a football. So like here. So we're going to have to, think round thoughts. Think of the moon, think of things like that, so that you stay in the mood. And it's very important because psychologically it takes you there, I kid you not. So we can turn around and really follow your hand. Your hand tells you what it wants. So the hand does that much more comfortably. Every time that you go inward or outward of the line, it's impossible. So here it is, and then at first you're thinking, okay, it's a little bit oblong, so we're going to rework a bit this passage, for example. But basically that's what you're going to do to get to your circle. And it's okay if it's not absolutely perfect, but that's the idea for now for our cabochon in black and white before we hit with the color. So we're going to take everything out of there. Again, the box goes away. And you can very gently rub with that eraser to dim the darkness of the line if you want. So that you can just like go around. If you had a kneaded eraser, you just click with it. It's like a silly putty. But we don't have that today. Nellie knows what that is from GIA, right Nellie? Yes. Yes. So we're going to go around like this, and take one last little tour of your circle. But it's pretty cool, right? Being able to just draw it by hand like this. Yeah. And so I do that for everything. If I have to, I don't necessarily draw the entire box, but I'll put little points. So if I want to do an oval, I'm going to put like these little imaginary walls, that I can understand, and then I build my oval in there. So here we are. And, we're going to use it as it is, because now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of this, is that the important thing, nitty-gritty? It just sounds nice, but I don't really know what it means. So I'm going to come closer. It's okay, right? Yes. Yeah, okay. The crunchy part. So what happens is, when you have something that's, first of all, we have a convention in the industry. I'm going to talk to you about this, with the light coming from the left at 45 degrees. Very important, because it's been like this since the Renaissance. Something to do with probably Michelangelo's painting of men touching the hand of God for life, and all this beauty coming from the left of the painting. I'm not sure, but it seems like around that time in Italy, everybody, designers, architects, decided that light was coming from the left at 45, and we're still doing it this way. So that's cool. Now, so we know the sunbeam is coming from there. Now, it's going to hit the highest part of the stone. Like if it's a dome, right? We're going to talk about a cabochon. So if the dome is high, it's going to get, the highlight is going to get come closer and closer to the center. So a lot of times when you see online illustrations, jewelry illustrations, with a highlight right there on the edge, I always cringe a little bit because I think, ooh, that's such a flat cab, right? Because the light is hitting here. So I'm like, no, make it, make it yummy if it's a drawing, unless it's specifically for the design. And then you can bring your highlight a little higher. See, so let's do that. See how I'm doing a little bit of an arc to the highlight itself, and that's going to be telling us, well, there's light here, and it's also the highest point of the piece. Try to clean this up a little bit. Meantime, and so here it is, right? That's the top, right? And it's shiny. So what happens with an opaque material is that if you were looking at an orange, for example, or a piece of wood, well, it would go from dark and gradually work itself towards the light. So gradually you'd go with the dark grays on the bottom right here, and you would climb up to the top. But it's a transparent thing. Whether it's quartz, whether it's amethyst, or anything else, it's going to be, the darkness is going to be reverse. So that's the beauty of transparent material. That's what makes it work. So we're going to build a yin-yang, a very light yin-yang like this. Watch this. Up, like that. Not very dark because we're going to blend it after a while. We're going to let it go. So we do this, and we know that the darkest part is actually reversed to make it transparent. So what I'm going to do is show you how to do this. You're going to go, this is your darker area, right? We're going to save a little bit of reflected light on this edge right here, and we are going to cover this with a light gray. Try to hold it gently in your hand, and after a while the lead gets tired, which I love. It gets soft, and that's when it's not scratchy anymore, and it feels really good. So keep it in the same direction for a while, and you're going to get all this part in gray. Okay. And then gradually, I'm going to start to want to darken around the highlight. That's going to be your darkest part of the stone, right underneath the tallest part of the stone. That's going to give you the transparency you're looking for. And then make sure to blend that so you can move that pencil around to do this. I'm going to come even closer here. There you go. And slowly and gradually, you're going to move towards a much lighter grays until this is pretty much not completely white, but almost. You can even leave a little bit of white on the edge here if you wanted to. It's almost like a moon crescent that's left. But before that, you're going to work from the darkest gray you can get us around the highlight. Remember that little curve in the highlight, and you're going to melt it into the gray. So this pencil works well for that. And then the right side of the object, of the stone here, is going to get dark, just the contour. Right? It's opposite the light, even though. So it's you really see everything being reversed. The light is being sent to the other side. And on this side you can even split this in between low light and high light. Do a light gray little tail like a comet that has a little bit of a tail here of a very light gray. And so in fact, the white highlight is not very strong. It's very strong, but it's not very large. So it doesn't have to be big. If you've lost it a little bit and it's a little gray, you want to wake it up, do little turns like this with the tip of your eraser. And can you see the transparency already? Right, compared to something that would look opaque. You can even use your pinky to go from one to the other. It's very high tech. And open with your eraser a fillet of the white here. And that pretty much is how I paint and design my cabochons. That is the principle of transparency. So once you're done with this, play with this a couple of more minutes. We're going to transpose to color after that. It'll be much more fun. can even have a little fun with the shadow here. You could do something like this. Basically, you're going to be pretty dark right on the other side of this. So if it was sitting on the table, it would do this, and probably a little bit of the light would come through. It's all about the contrast with gemstones. And so whether it's a drop of water, it's going to look like this. If it's, again, an emerald from Colombia, it will do the same thing with extra color on top of it. So this was just an example. We're going to transpose this. We're going to keep it to the side. And we're going to move it over and look at the, let me see if I can have both on the camera, if I back up a little bit. Yeah, all right. So let's keep it together like this. Remember what you've done, and I'm going to walk you through it again. Okay. So we're going to start with the darker tone. Remember how we did that earlier? We started with the dark, like where it's going to be, the highlight will live. So definitely we will start with the dark green, and we'll use this first circle for our cabochon emerald. And what I'm going to invite you to do is to do the same as before. Give a direction to your highlight. See, it's a little bigger at first because we'll turn into low light highlight later. But make sure and go do that little curve. I think that'll work really well. And then go ahead and protect. I'm not even going to mark the yin yang. I will, but really lightly so I can blend it. See, like this. And really tells me that there's a darker side and a lighter side. And so here we're going to save some reflected light right on the edge. Right there. And then first I could just do sort of a dark green without pressing all the way. So you'll see that one thing we can do, as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to show you something you can do with the green pencils, is to test the values. All right. Let's go back for a second to this piece of paper. If you want to go darker, you press harder. We know that. But there's another one you might not know, is how much you squeeze the pencil is actually going to make it either darker or lighter. So it's like the more you relax, the more it's going to get lighter green. So I want you to relax your hand on the pencil here and test its values. Like, how many values could I do with this pencil? So definitely that could be one. Very, like I'm barely holding it and pressing down. And then if you notice, if you squeeze your fingers a tiny bit on the pencil, what happens? Isn't that fun? It's not just the pressure on paper, right? Suddenly you're like a human accordion of values, because you can just like really hold it, tighten it, your grip, and amazing things happen. So definitely remember how much that grip is, how important that is, right? So we're getting a bunch of values. I'm going to get to the maximum pretty quickly though. I won't get as many as with a regular pencil. That's typical of colored pencils. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's pretty good already for one pencil, right? One pencil. 6 values. Try it. You can, while you're at it, you'll be able to do the same thing with the light green also. You'll be going, and that's a nice emerald green. So you'll go lighter, squeeze a little bit more, and press a little bit more. So you're doing both. And we're going to squeeze our hands on the pencil more. I'm getting almost at saturation here. Pretty much, I'm afraid that in this case, I can only find 4, at least right now. So 4 values here. But that's something that I can play with, right? It's going to give me quite a bit of flexibility between those two. Just 'cause that's your range, right? That's wonderful. You can do so much with one color already. All right, and when I draw the gemstones, it's usually 2, a light and a dark. That's a good way to look at it. Excuse me. All right, so we start with the dark green. We're going to come back here. And we're thinking, wow, with all this range and what I need to do, it's good that I started light. It's always a good place to start. And we're just going to, sometimes you change your direction in order to erase the lines. That's also a good way to do it, because you can't really use a paper stump it's like rolled paper, a blender basically, that we use for pencil, but with colored pencils it really doesn't work very well. They are blending pencils, but I don't like them very much. They're not great. Okay, we saved a little bit of reflected light on the edge. We're starting to get darker, and maybe we're going to lighten up the green coming in here, right? And we're going to switch to the lighter green all the way to the edge here. Remember the sleeping moon crescent? That was right there, and it's just kept going. So the prettier part of the stone, in my opinion, is really, this is where the color lives, like right here. Of course, the dark tones are important, but if you're talking emerald green, it's going to be on the right side here. And there you can press down quite a bit because we want that saturation, we want that intensity. We're going to start climbing over the darker green and covering it so that it becomes one. And guess what? We can even go to the reflected light because it's a much lighter green. You guys are so good. So you can change, remember how you can change your directions? Go in the other direction. Fill that in. Now we have a really good base we can work with. I'll show you what we can do with that. So go over the dark green, don't hesitate, and take over the right side. So it's almost like this is a film that goes over everything we've done, except the highlight. So now it's starting to get a really nice color, but it doesn't pop enough. So in order to do that, we have to push our contrasts. All right, this one came to sort of the maximum saturation here. Okay. And I'm going to go back with the dark green, but I'm going to give you a few minutes to catch up with me. Excellent. I think everybody's doing really well. Can't wait to walk around and look, but I just want to show you a bunch of things. And we only have an hour. So usually I'm up, I'm looking at everyone and working with you. Can I have your seat? Can I have your seat? Right, Nelly? I drive people crazy with that. It's like musical chairs, but a quick demo sometimes really helps. So what a difference between the two, but really it helps having the one that we've done before as a comparison. And what you notice if you squint, this is another great tool for artists, squinting. It breaks down the values for you, so it makes you look really inspired or suspicious. Depends. But you can try one or the other and see what happens. The bottom line is when you're looking at art, squinting is actually really good because it also breaks down the layout, the composition. So it's and the source of light. So every time you take a drawing class, people will talk about this. If you want good results, I would say put your paper, that you're going to draw on with the green, like over a white sheet, because I feel like otherwise you're going to pick up the fiber of the fabric of the tablecloths. So I would rather see how I'm putting it on top of the other sheets so that it's a smoother contact. And here I'm going to push this quite a bit now. Talk about the values, right? Now I'm going to the number 5 of those values. Like as dark as it's going to allow me. But now I can't leave it like this. So it looks like an island. So what you have to do is just blend from there. So it's like, yes, we're getting darker at the top, but it's a little bit like subtle. This. We're going to continue a little bit. The two colors really have to blend nicely. Go back over it one more time to make it even darker yet. And then I'm going to take the dark green just to walk along the edge here. Right, just the edge. It went up a little bit, but that's okay. And remember, here we're going to be as saturated as the pencil is going to let you. Because we can, right? Now we have enough dark values on one side that we can push this light one as strong as it will do. And look at how sort of inky it's starting to get. Starting to look almost like paint. That's when it's really nice, I think. I teach my online classes for 3 hours, and at first I thought, oh my God, I'm going to drive them crazy in 3 hours. But it goes by so quick. We take a break after an hour and a half, and the session is over before you know it. So there's something about design that really takes you, and it's kind of wonderful that way. We have the gray, right? Remember, we have our pencil. So. And remembering the values, you go very, very light, and you can do a little low light gray right there, so that the highlight is sort of a little bit smaller, right? So you have a little bit of light is present here, but really it's hitting right there. That could be nice. I'm wondering if I could even darken a little bit my green with my pencil right around the highlight, probably. But I have to be careful that it doesn't show. So just a bit of that goes a long way. And it's plenty rich looking, I think, with the other green anyway. Okay, so that would be for your cabochon. Now we're going to learn from the cabochon to actually work towards the faceted stones. We have a little bit of time, we can try to do this. Now you see all the other ones on the right? I'm going to leave those for you because you can take those pencils, you can play with it, and at home you will have the gray one. If you want to take a picture of mine, you can always do that. And basically what you will do at home is train. See, I'm already starting to stain everything. Erasers don't work that great with colored pencils, but this worked. So on your own, you could work on another one right there next to it, right? And you could work towards smaller stones, and it works beautifully, you'll see. So that would be really wonderful. And if you want to do a little bit of some kind of shadow as if the stone was just laying on the table, you can do something like that, but leaving a little bit of light through. Is that working for you guys? You seeing it? Okay, excellent. I mean, they're kind of bluffy, like you just want to grab them if you do it them well. So that's really good. So we're going to work on the oval cut, because actually that was nice of me to give you the facets, because the Ceylon cuts, every time with my students, the first time it takes a few minutes. So it's a tricky one. So you have, these are easier in the emerald cut, but the oval Ceylon cut, it's a little funky because they're two squares, but they're sort of dancing. So, and I marked the highlight. So what we're going to learn from what we've learned with transparency this way or transposed into color is a lot of things. We know that the darkest part is under the highlight. How is this going to translate in a gemstone that's cut? Well, let's say we picked, knowing that the light comes from the left at 45, right? We're going to pick this facet, and I already isolated it. You see I made it darker. I mean, around the edges is what I mean. The outline is darker. So I'm going to put darkness all around it, like this. Probably won't go and touch the edge. Just like here, I was trying to leave the edge alone. I'm going to do the same here. Leave that edge down as I'm coming down. And I want this whole area to be darker. So even towards the inside of the stone, towards the culette, we're going to make this area darker. So it's like a cloud of dark gray, and I'm avoiding what? The highlight and the two low light facets. Remember those light gray facets? Well, we can take our pencil and we can fill those in really lightly, like this. And the other one is white, stays white. So we can work the gray, the greens. This whole area is dark. See, I'm doing a little bit of a V towards the culette. You can do that. Just indicating that everything's going to go towards the bottom of the stone. And right now, you see, we talked about values. These are, maybe this is the darkest, like that first slice, that first V shape is darker. And then see, I'm getting a little bit lighter green. It's still dark, but not quite as intense as that first one. So that's going to be reminiscent of that yin-yang thing already. Slowly, I will get lighter and lighter, because eventually here we're going to be the lightest. So now we have inside of that stone, when we look through the top of the stone and we look at the pavilion, we see that we're aiming towards the culette, but in fact we're working towards the lighter part right here. So this part of the stone is going to get lighter, and this is darker. So it's in a way, it's quite similar. It follows what we were learning with the cabochon. There's an extra step here. So what you're doing is you're going from dark to medium on each side. It's getting lighter to lighter green, lighter. And I'm going to leave this alone because it's going to have that beautiful light green. So once you're here, there's one more thing I want to do with that stone. With the green is, this is going to be across the way, especially this one here. It's my darkest one. It's exactly across the way from the highlight. It's the opposite. So there's a dark sort of a wall of green here that's going to make what's going on in here really pop. So all around the table, I'm going to sort of do a cloud also. Am I going to touch the edge here? No. Same thing. I try really to stay away from the edge as much as possible. So right there. We're already starting to see a bit what's going to happen. And I'm going to wait a second, let you catch up, and then with the light green, we're pretty much going to go everywhere else. So it's interesting to start with the darker tones and then to go lighter. I really enjoy that. The dark being almost like a sculpting agent, and the light color is more of a intensity of the pop. You start with your dark color, and if you went over it like this, over it, and went into the lighter part, just doing the table. I'm going to show you what happens. See, it's already there for you. And you go from dark to medium to lighter green to very light green here. And then I'm just going to continue filling this in with that light green. You can go everywhere else with it. And if you want, you can have areas where you really push and other ones where you leave it light green, you know. You can play with those greens the way you want to, but saturate it quite a bit too, because that's when it's rich looking, you know, especially around the edges. Here, there. And you can enjoy the different layers. You can always come back with a darker green if you want to really make it a point to have some dark values at the end. See, I'm coming back here. I'm going to get a little darker yet. And you'll notice that sometimes they go right through. So it'll go through the pavilion. It'll come back up into the crown right there. So once you have the facets there, it's a little bit easier. I mean, they're not that hard, they're just geometric, and it takes a little bit of getting used to. But you build a good structure, your facets, and then it's always going to be that same principle as what we're doing now. That's why giving you the facets, you don't have to think about that geometry right this minute. You're just thinking like an illustrator. And you're going to get these so they don't compete with the white highlight, the very light gray, see? This. How's that so far, everybody? That's good, right? That works nicely. And so the idea is to keep your highlight as white as you can. So, you know, it's easy to go with your hand over it or something, and then you lose a little bit of that intensity here. When you're working with gouache, you know, watercolor, it's opaque watercolor, so it's easy. You can just get a nice titanium white with good skills, your paintbrush, and you can bring that highlight back. But when you do colored pencils, you can't do that. So, you can if you want to. Go get gouache and fix it, but it doesn't work great. So the best is to just really try to protect the white, strong highlight there. Okay, so we have that, and definitely I'm giving you other directions. If you are doing a stone going east-west, it's going to be the same thing for you. You're just going to, let's say we do a cabochon going east-west. You're going to prepare your highlight like this, and same thing. You're going to leave some reflected light running along the edge. Going like there. And you come back. So you're going to get the principle of this within an hour, and that's what I'm interested in for you. And if you like this, I have a coloring book that's just coming out on this trip, actually, that I just released, that I'm very excited about. And you can always get that on Amazon, or you can get it from us. And I also have DVDs. You can stream them from riogrande.com, or you can buy them from my website. Yeah, but here it is. You can push that green all the way once you have enough darkness on the other side, on the left side. You just push this and cover everything. And then suddenly the stone is going in the other direction, but you understand that you can work with that no matter which direction it's going. You can even do the gray on both sides and keep the white right in the middle, like a little band-aid. But that's what they do. Kind of amazing. So now when you look at a stone, I want you to squint and look at it. People are going to think you're completely crazy, but you say, Rémy made me do this. So it's okay. Yeah, but because you're going to see the gray facets, you start playing with the light and you see, oh, white facet and two sisters that are light gray on either side, immediately following. So it's kind of fun to do that. And here it is for a cabochon going east-west now, right? You can always work your dark green edge on the right side. If you're doing it in black and white, just bring a darker line of graphite right there. And then we're going to skip to the emerald cut, our last cut. We have a few minutes for that, so I wish I had more time to literally check everybody's work out. I'm very curious what's going on over there, but I can't. So there you go. But you see, like here, I think I could be more saturated, for example. So don't be afraid to push that pencil. Squeeze it and push it down. If you want to get that really intense, sort of like paint-looking colored pencil. Then guess what? We have this one now. And this one is pretty wonderful because, see, the highlight is right there. That's our emerald cut. It's ready to go with the highlight. Dark emerald green at first. I'm going to come closer. Can you see it on the screen? Yeah, it works. And so that first descent, basically, towards the culette is going to be dark. I didn't do any stepping inside because I figured if I did that, you wouldn't even know where the table is anymore. But we do it after when we render. We're going to start doing sort of like stages, like columns. So you remember the dark green, right? We don't want to touch the edge, fine. So I'm going to leave a little bit of light green on the edge. And where are those gray sisters? They're actually going to be, of the highlight that is, they're going to be one here and one there. So we're going to take this pencil and just bring on either side of the highlight a little bit of gray. It is kind of like a coloring book right now because you've got your facets to follow. But coloring book is going to be like that. I just use some of my designs and so they're a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more complicated, of course, than this. And so here we're going to do the darker values. It's like a reversed L shape. You see that? That reversed L shape right there to frame that table. See, we're being good. We're not going all the way up to the edge. And so how are we going to do the fan of values? Like here we were going from this dark green right here to medium, to light, and to super light. How did we do this? Well, how do we do this on an emerald cut shape? Well, it's the same kind of principle. So let's say we're inside the stone now, right? So you're going to do one, let's say, in 2 steps, and maybe leave a little air in between for a lighter tone. So you have 2 columns coming down all the way to the slice. We're going to try to work from dark to light, going from in both directions. Here too, we're going to start with dark, and we're going to do dark again. So see, that's why I'm doing it now, so it's less confusing. There you go. So this would be as dark as it gets, pretty much, being this being the darkest. We go to a medium dark green. Then you come to the edges here. You're going to go a lighter dark green. Continuing this little, how would you say that? It's not a merry-go-round, but it's like this little maze of facets. And from here, I need to get lighter with that green. I can't keep going like this hard. So I'm going to start relaxing the hand. And you see, we will do values that are much softer now. Much lighter green. Same with this. And then we'll leave it alone because it'll take that light green really pretty. You can even come back here. You can do another one of those facets. You know, continuing that framed look. Here and underneath. Going around. And then you leave it alone because you're going to come back with your second green after that. And this is when you can go to town with that green, especially starting here. See? That's really going to pop nicely. And then I'm going to just invade every one of those lines with it. Every time I can, except for the gray and the white.
Watercolor, you'd start with the dark too?
A lot of times the dark, you do a base actually, a darker base with watercolor. And then you paint everything in white, which is really, you have to really watch what you're doing because every facet has to be painted in white. So you draw them first, then you do a wash of dark, and then you start painting the facets in white. Let it dry, and then you go over it with the green. So it's a trip. It's a little involved, but the result is really pretty wonderful. All right, so you can trick the eye with those. I'm definitely going to come back here and enhance some of the dark values just to make the lights pop even better. So lots of contrasts, if you will, when you're drawing those. There's always another layer you can do with colored pencils. That's the fun part. You think that you've maxed out with them, then you realize that actually you can continue building. Voila. So now I am going to walk around because I can't help it. I have to see what people are doing. Yay, look at you. That's awesome. Isn't that pretty? Yeah, so nice. Yeah, good blending. And you see you could push with your dark, light green more. Can I show you something?
Yes, please.
See, you could just not be afraid and just fill it in because see that sort of inky sort of look you start getting? Really intense. Same with you. You could push a little bit more. But you got everything right, so that's what matters. Yeah, very pretty. Same thing, don't be afraid, push the pencil. It can give you, that's really good saturation there. Very nice. Yeah, that's incredibly transparent, I love it. Yes, very nice. Very nice things. Right. That's exciting. See, that's why I walk around. It's just because I get excited. It's good work. Yep. Nice, nice. Hello. Hi. That's nice. Hi. How are you? Yep, you could also, can I show you something? You could also not be afraid and just push that. Do you see what I mean? Once in a while. Really intensely. Yeah. And then, so you can push them a bit more, the colors. Yep. Because they will reach a maximum intensity and then they will stop there. That's really good, intense green. Yeah? You're having fun? That's good. Look at this sideways stone. That's awesome. Okay. Well, everybody's doing beautiful emeralds. They're all from Colombia. They're all from the Muzo mine. That's really good too. Excellent. Don't be afraid to push that color, okay? Can I show you? Yeah. Like here. Let's say we're in this area here. You could go all the way to this, you see? See how pretty it gets? So do that and fill it in quite a bit. And then you can push the dark again over it. So you can go back and forth. Nice, nice. Yeah, everybody's doing a great job. Very exciting. Cool. Well, it was nice meeting you all, and thank you all for a great class. You all did very well. Good job. Take whatever you need, because they're good things to have.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.